Chairman Biggs, Ranking Member Nadler, Ms. Dean, honorable members of the committee, thank you guys so much for having me. Camille, Jim, John, so grateful for you guys and so honored to be here with you and humbled to be beside you. My name is Tim Tebow, and as Chairman Biggs stated, I was fortunate to be and humbled to be the chairman and the founder of the Tebow Foundation, and we exist to bring faith, hope, and love to those needing a brighter day in their darkest hour of need. To sum it up, we strive to fight for people that can't fight for themselves. Some of you may know me from sports, but honestly, more of you probably know me from getting cut from a bunch of sports teams, as Ms. Dean mentioned earlier. So thanks, Ms. Dean. We can talk about that later. It's all good. But honestly, why we're here today is to talk about the MVP. Not the MVP I chased most of my life. Couldn't get, by the way, but chased. Not the MVP most of you are probably thinking, no, not the most valuable player. A more important MVP, the most vulnerable people. That's why we're here today. A year and a half ago, this awesome lady to my left, Camille Cooper, joined our team. And I asked Camille, I said, Camille, what breaks your heart the most? And she wrote down the number 20,000. And I said, what does that mean? And she said, it's a problem. I said, what problem is that? It's the 20,000 boys and girls that have been abused and raped. And their images and videos have been captured, but nobody has been able to identify them. They're unknown. Until someone knows them, how could somebody rescue them? And I knew that day that my heart was broken and my eyes were open, and we had to do something. So I said, Camille, what do you think is the best approach? And she said, bring the best teams and players together. So we convened a meeting in Lyon, France, with amazing frontline heroes. So many people and many more came to the table with really two goals. The first one, how many boys and girls are unknown, are unidentified? And it wasn't 20,000. It was over 50,000. And the second goal is how do we protect them? And that's where Operation Renewed Hope was born. And in 15 days, they were able to identify 316 boys and girls. 316 boys and girls. It was an incredible operation, but that's a tiny dent in what we're called to get to. It was amazing work, but it was so small in comparison. And so why we're here today is to be able to ask you to say yes to a bill that we're going to present. And this bill really has one goal: to build a rescue team. Because there's so many frontline warriors and heroes, but there's just not enough. And we need to support them, and we need more of them to get to these 50,000 boys and girls. So this bill is strictly to create a rescue team that has the funding, the support, the training, the technology, so that they can get to these 50,000. You know, I've had the privilege of playing for a lot of sports teams in my life. And almost all of them, we've had incredible resources to give us a better chance at winning a game, something that ultimately, as much as we care about it, doesn't matter. Why would we not give as much, if not more, resources to the frontline heroes that are going after the most vulnerable boys and girls on the planet? You see, when Operation Renewed Hope identified that 316, and out of all those that were rescued, more than half of them were right here in the U.S. And when you extrapolate those numbers, that means that there's thousands of boys and girls that are starving for hope in our backyard. And we have the chance to bring hope to those that are starving for it, if we're willing. But honestly, my words will probably fall flat today. So instead of hearing from me, I would rather you hear from one of my heroes, a young girl who went through extreme abuse for 7 years. And almost every night she got raped for 7 years. And in the middle of her abuse, this is what she writes. Rescue me, help me. Monsters are chasing. Can't you see? Monsters are whispering, can't you hear? Monsters are shouting, you're nothing. Can't you feel my pain? Monsters are pushing. End it all, just jump. Can't you hear all the whys I'm asking? Monsters are laughing. You're all alone in this. Can someone please rescue me? This girl and thousands of boys and girls just like her, they're calling out to you and to me. And how many times in my life have I missed the call? Have I missed the mark? Unfortunately, too many. But would today be a day that we wouldn't miss the mark, that we would hear her cries, that we would hear her call, and we would answer the call? Because every single one of those boys and girls is worth us answering the call and doing everything we can so that they can experience the faith, hope, and love that they deserve. Not the bondage and torture that they're in right now. I believe if we build that rescue team, we will have a chance of getting to every one of those boys and girls. I got a message last night from a girl who has been rescued, and she said, "Thank you so much for speaking up for us." And it was humbling to get that. But if all we do today is speak, if all I do is speak, I also miss the mark. We have to do more than just talk about it. We have to act on it and be about it. Thank you for having me, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Tebow.